Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? What's up, guys? Welcome to another portfolio review. I'm just checking the setup here on the microphone because it feels like I'm speaking way too loudly here on my little bar. We got Valaji, we got Kaushal and Lotus. How are you guys? Good morning. And we got more viewers, but you guys are very shy. You don't comment. We don't bite. So feel free to comment, guys. Feel free to ask any questions, any comments, all of the stuff that you guys tell here on the chat. I will read them. We got hello from Keep. We got 3D Learner says, hey Abraham, after a long time my life update is I left 3D as a career. However, I was a 3D student, but I want to do 3D anymore. So I'm 19, I'm doing something else. Oh, okay. I mean, that's fine, man. There's a lot of things that you can do. And one of my personal philosophies is that it doesn't matter if you spent time on something that you didn't end up doing full time. Any knowledge that you acquire is always useful knowledge for other things. So, for instance, when I was your age, actually, when I was 19, I was studying medicine. I was gonna become a doctor. I did 1 year of medicine school, and I decided that was not for me. So, after I dropped medicine school and went into the 3D world, I discovered that all of the stuff that I learned from medicine school, all of the anatomy and stuff, was really helpful. So yeah, it's perfectly fine to make a decision early on, and even late. Like it doesn't really matter. Life is so beautiful that you can switch things at pretty much any point. Of course, there are certain advantages of doing it early. So if you've just decided that 3D is not the way to go, that's perfectly fine, man. I wish you the best of luck in whatever you find. Let's see, we got David Sarn. Have a great stream, teacher. Got you in the background while practicing my environment skills. Thank you, David. I'll probably be sending you a message soon, David, on Discord, because I got a couple questions for you. Tinkmesh, hello, my friend. Ezio, sorry, at the gym, I just found your page, so clicked on the notification to listen while lifting. Nice. I need to go back to the gym. Like a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I was going to the gym very frequently, and I got a nice body. I'm not gonna lie, but unfortunately, I let myself go. What's up, guys? How are you doing? Doing good. So yeah, doing good, man. 3D Learner says I'm doing trading full time, so I'm a full time trader, earning way more than my expectation. I was starting. Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. Finance is always it's a fun career. I know it's a lot of highs and lows, but yeah, if you like it, go for it, man. What's the name of my dog? My dog's name Thor. Thor. He's a Bernese mountain dog. Really big dude. Let me see if. There we go. And I got another one, little one. Her name is Padme. She's a pup. She's only 4 months old. It's his daughter, so yeah, those are my two dogs. They make me company here in the studio. There we go. Anuva Vora says, hi, how are you? I'm on the retopology part of your character lesson. Nice. Yeah, retopology is it's a fun part. It's a time-consuming part, but it's a fun part. Let's go, guys. So today we're gonna be looking at portfolio review. Okay, so we are gonna start, and we're gonna have our live portfolio. I left a message yesterday on the Discord channel, so if you're here waiting for your portfolio, we'll go through all of them. We're gonna go through all of them, and it's gonna be a little bit more of a live portfolio feedback. So we're gonna be giving a little bit more pointers. Hopefully, you wouldn't have any issues with what's the word? With ArtStation. Let's see. Let's start with Chase Jordan right here. If you guys are on the chat, I'm just gonna go and assume that some of you guys might be on the chat. So if you are on the chat, let me know so that I can answer specific questions if you have them. Yeah, 3D Learner, thank you very much, and I'm glad that the knowledge that I was able to give you was good, even if this is not the path that you're gonna be following at the end of the day. Though that's no problem at all. So. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here on the live stream and for supporting the channel. David says, by the way, I think I'll be diving more into VFX animation, or less learning a little bit more. Nice. That's great, man. Yeah. VFX and animation is really, really cool. Okay, so we got Chase Jordan here from Palm Beach, United States, and he's got 4 characters. So the first thing I see about the portfolio is that we need a couple more characters. I always tell people that if you were going to be a character artist, you need at least like 4 or 5. Well, no, not 4 or 5, like 6 or 7, I would say. And he's already got a good like range, because he's got like a creature, a female, a male, and this sort of like sci-fi element. Now, Chase has been sharing some of his progress on this character, on this one right here on the Discord channel. It's looking really, really, really good. He mentioned it was from one challenge that was here in ArtStation. So this is good. This is good. Now, having the concept and the piece together allows me to see certain things that we need to polish a little bit more. So for instance, the sharpness on this character right here could be exaggerated a little bit more on your sculpt, so that you get a stronger, like more stylized effect. Same for here. Be careful with the proportions of the character. In general, they're really, really, really close, but I still see certain things that are slightly bigger or slightly smaller than they should be. So you want to check that. For instance, the angle on the nose, you gotta check the angle of the nostril of the nose and try to match that. These are good. I normally don't encourage people to add works in progress on your portfolio, not because it's a bad thing, but unfortunately, works in progress are one of those things that you end up abandoning later, and you don't finish them. So yeah, just be careful there. Dragon Rice Challenge. Nice. Yeah, this is a great thing. Chase is a perfect example of someone who's doing the challenges here from ArtStation, and the challenges are a really, really good way to get yourself seen. This is a question that I get like very, very frequently, like how can I get my name out there? Doing challenges, doing like going to conventions, to going to like presentations and things like that, and just introducing yourself to more people. It's a great way to get people to follow you and to see what you're doing. This is a nice character. I think the render is a little bit too dark. If I had to give some feedback on this one, I think the render is a little bit too dark. This woods right here, the shading is wrong. It looks like plastic rather than wood, so they look very glossy. And Chase, you're making the mistake that I normally like advised against, which is adding the metal edgeware everywhere. You always want to mask out your metal edgeware so that it's not absolutely everywhere. But it's a good character. A little bit of wasted space here on the UVs. I think you could probably have a couple more cuts. For instance, you could cut the head right here and maybe this part of the tail, and that way you could get a little bit more resolution. This is weird to me, for instance, because you have metallic shading on certain parts of the character. I'm not sure if you were going for this sort of like iridescent effect, but usually the metallic is not the way to do it. If I'm doing like this snake, I would expect there to be no metallic information on the character itself, only on the props. Yeah, I would also probably push the normal detail, especially on the scales, a little bit higher, because you're not seeing as much. Topology wise is good, a little bit dense, but it's good. And the sculpt is really good. I like it. Yeah, there we go. That's yeah. This was the subdivided resolution. Then this one's really good. I might change the what's the word? The loops on the head, to be honest, to have a cleaner sort of eye loop over there. And the hands are really, really dense. You don't need this much density for the hands at this level of low poly effect. You can definitely go a little bit lower. But yeah, this is a nice one, man. Nice one. Now, the female character, I think the female character is still missing a little bit of work. Especially the face and the hair. There's this technique that we do for the hairs. I know you're using haircuts right here, and haircuts are tricky, don't get me wrong. It's one of those things, especially if it's the first time you're doing it, it's very, very like time consuming. So usually where the hair meets the skin, you will have a little bit more breakup. So you will have like a little bit more crazy hairs going, like small, shorter hairs there, because right now it looks like a very, very, very clean line, and that goes, or it makes it look a little bit fake. The armor and everything else looks good. It doesn't look as much as a metallic armor. It looks a little bit more like plastic armor. Your topology is fine. Your maps are fine as well. Yeah, like again, in general, it's good. Like the technical knowledge on this character is good. I just feel like both the render and I don't know, a little bit of the face looks a little bit weird. Like she doesn't look as appealing, right, as a character as I would like her to be. But you did manage to change that with this one right here. This one looks really good. It looks a lot more appealing. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It could be the pose, it could be the proportions, or the way you're presenting the light here is a lot better. I love the detail that you did for all of the tools that he has on the skirt and stuff. The texture is looking a lot better as well. So I think this is a really strong character. And I can already tell that this is like perfectly like retopologized and stuff. So yeah, this is something that I could definitely see on the game. Okay, this is the concept. Whoa, this is the thing, man. My personal advice, and I know this is gonna be a little bit weird for me to say, don't show the concept here. Why not? Because this is a really good project. Like when I see this character, I'm like, damn, this is really good. But then when I see the concept, I'm like, he missed a lot of stuff. So you missed the beard, of course, and the hair, which is really important for this concept. There are some details on like this, like cloths and stuff that are missing. So there is, like, I can see where you didn't exactly match the concept. So instead of saying I try to copy this concept, what you could say is I use this concept as inspiration. It's not the same, right? Like ideally you would match the concept perfectly, and you are really close. If you can add the hair to this guy, I think you're gonna be really close to the character, because this is a great project. But again, my personal advice, and this is an advice that I was given that says don't give extra change to people. Like don't give them more tools that they can use to criticize you. If I hadn't seen this concept right here, and you can of course mention where you got the concept from, that's perfectly fine. But if I don't see this concept right here, I can just say like this is a really good work, like super good. Now that I've seen the concept, I'm like, but he missed this and this and this. So hopefully you can see how this brings it down a notch, right? And even though again it's not gonna hurt you really, or it's not gonna hurt you this much, it does leave a little bit of a sour taste on your mouth. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not advising against lying. Lying, of course, is wrong, but I'm just saying don't. If you know you made some decisions not to include certain things, don't shoot yourself in the foot by showing the things that you did not include, right? That's the big advice. Also, careful with the proportions of things. You can see here, look at the size of this like cloth. Look at the size of the hammer compared to his. This hammer looks a little bit small. The cloth looks really small. So that's the kind of stuff that we need to be very careful about when creating our characters. Cool, so that was Chase right here. Now let's go with this one right here. 3D Artist 365 says, hey Raham, I have my portfolio reviewed and I can just feedback on the antique handrail piece where I fixed the wood texture and the handles are re-rendered. I believe we've already seen this, but if you're here on the chat, Michael, let's take a look at this one. So this one looks a little bit better on the wood. I still think the intensity of the normal map is a little bit too much. This right here, man, like all of these points right here, I do think they're unnecessary for a prop such as this, especially if it's gonna be for games where optimization is key. You definitely want to like minimize that sort of stuff. Like I can understand it over here because we have each of these little squares going to the sides. That's again understandable. But on this curvature, you can definitely minimize that curvature at least by half. And same thing here. Like you can do half the amount of vertices that you have right there. Also, be very careful with how you're like capturing the normal maps on those like little like things right there. I think topology, we can still improve the topology. Texturing wise, it looks okay, and yeah, in general, I think it's a good texture. That's a really nice detail on that. The bakes look really good as well. So it's just that it's the topology, like that topology right there. I feel like you're using way too many points for something that doesn't really require them. So be careful there. And then this one, lightning and look depth. This is great, man. Look at this, guys. This is one of the best exercises that I can like show you, and Michael here is exactly showing. We do this on the like lighting and rendering course that I have available. By the way, all the links are down here. You go online, you look for interesting photographs or interesting light compositions, and you get this right here. Ashrae, yes, go to the Discord and go to the portfolio review and drop your link right there, my friend. I'll review it. So yeah, this is really good. Like you take a picture like this one from what's his name? I always forget about his name. Hugh Jackman. And you try to copy it with this model. I know this model might not be yours, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I can see that the model's right there. But you're showing how you would approach the lightning, like like things right here. So yeah, this is really, really, really good, man. Really good. I think the blue and the pink are a little bit too bright here. I would expect them to be a little bit less intense. But this, my friends, is a perfect example on how you can practice your lightning construction. I do see that you added a coal rim light right here. I think I would have gone for just a simple soft light, like no color, because I'm not seeing any color right here. But again, this is great job, man. Great job. Farhan, welcome, my friend. 3D Atmosphere. Hi, guys. How are you doing? Let's go now to the next one. Mini thing. This is a Tayyaf Hussein Khan. Let's take a look. Do you left any message here on the Discord? Hello, hope you're well. Would love to hear your thoughts on my portfolio. Let's do it. Okay, so first thing I'm seeing, my friend, is you have multiple submissions for the same asset. That's, again, usually not advisable because you clutter your stuff, your portfolio, and you don't allow me to explore it. So ideally, you would like to have a little bit less of them. This is, again, like this obelisk right here, that's perfect, but you only need one. You can only have this one right here, and then in one of the pictures over here, you can add the other effect. Be very careful with the alphas right here. These alphas are being, what's the word, exaggerated a little bit more than you should. Like, it makes no sense to have this sort of pattern just like thrown in there. There is a school of thought, I've mentioned this before, and this is why sometimes going to college is a good idea, because you learn things that you don't think are going to be helpful for you, but they end up being very helpful. So there is a school of thought, design thought, called the Bauhaus. This was in the 1920s, I think, 1930s. I'm not super like 1920s, there you go, 1919 to 1933. So the Bauhaus was a German, I believe it was German, school of design that focused on specific principles when creating or deciding how to design things. And one of the things that they use that I love is this one right here. Form ever follows function. Meaning that if you are going to have something, that something, the form of that something has to serve the function of that specific thing. So if you're going to have a door, the form of that door has to function as a door. If you're going to have a chair, the form of the chair has to function like a chair, etc., etc., etc. So the way I like to extrapolate that sort of information to when I create things like this is, why do we have this type of damage right here in this position with this intensity with this design, right? And right now, I cannot think of any way in which you could get this specific type of damage in this area that makes sense. So that means that we're not following the function. All of the chips and things like that, totally valid. Like, I can understand, like, people going there, cannonballs or something crashing through the things. Even like this one up here, like, that makes sense, right? But everything else is it's a little bit too much. So we gotta be very mindful of where we add that sort of stuff. This environment right here looks really good. I really like this one. This one's it's a nice like low poly effect. And now I'm not sure, it kind of looks to me that you're poly painting this inside of ZBrush, because the renders that I'm seeing right here, they kind of look poly painted. And if they are not poly painted, then you need to play a little bit more with the roughness of your elements, because everything looks plasticky. Everything looks very fake, like cartoon. And especially that one, I think you could go for a more traditional effect. Careful here, you're using a metal edgeware, like a white metal edgeware everywhere, and it's very obvious. That's not what you usually want. But as a general asset, I think that's a successful asset. I would just give it another pass on the texture side of things. On this one, same thing. Like, I think you have a good modeling or a good grasp on modeling and sculpting, but you need to work a little bit more on your textures. So I would strongly recommend that you get our Substance Painter courses or the Advanced Character course, where we go over Substance Painter. Because as you can see, look at this. I look at this map, which is the roughness map, and it's very uniform. And usually the roughness is where you should see a little bit more contrast, especially like on the blade of this thing. It should be a lot a lot blacker or darker, so that it looks like it's more like clean, like a polished metal. So good models, we need to improve the textures, Tayyaf. So there you go. Also, some of these pieces you might not need, like this one right here, low poly, 100-year-old wheat machine. I don't think this is really something that you need to have. So go through your stuff, try to like simplify them, combine all of the assets that are a part of the same project, and remove some of the assets that you feel are not that good. Let's see. Ragu Ram says, I cannot submit my portfolio for you. Yes, you can, but you need to do it on the Discord, my friend. If you're not on the Discord channel, I'll throw you an invite real quick. So you guys can join the Discord channel right here. And if you go to the portfolio review channel, you can drop a link right there, and I'll take a look. So that was Tayaf Hussein. Let's now go with Sahil's BFX. He wants me to check his character. Let's take a look. I'm gonna be very nosy here. I'm gonna check some of your other stuff because I feel like I've already seen some of your stuff before. Have I? Yes, I do remember some of this. Okay, so this is the most recent one. Cool. Let's take a look. So first thing I'm seeing is the render is a little bit too dark because I'm not really understanding the shape of the face right there. It looks a little bit weird. Yeah. Are you following a concept? I'm not sure if you're following a concept here, but I would strongly recommend that we get a concept because it's a good idea, but I don't think we're really executing as powerfully as we could. Because I know, based on seeing textures, rendering, and all that stuff, and I know that you know how to model texture, render, and all that stuff, but I don't think that we're getting a really, really cool concept here. So it's not a bad piece, but I would probably either do it another one more time, or what's the word, or try something else. Again, here's where this is gonna sound, and I know this is very divisive right now with AI and stuff like that. Oh, you want me to check the shoes? I'll go back to the shoes, my friend. So I know this opinion that I'm about to say, it's a little bit divisive, but since you have a cool idea for a character, one of the things that you could do is you could take one of the renders for this character, like this one right here, and run it through an AI, like a filter, like a DALL-E or a Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, using the image as your sort of like inspiration, which is your own. And then it's gonna fill in things that designers would normally do with characters like this, and you might be able to get a nicer, more complex idea that you could then model in 3D and generate a really cool portfolio piece. So yeah, that would be my advice for you. Let's go very quickly here with the mini thing. He wants me to review the shoes real quick. So the shoes look nice. From a product perspective, they look nice. Like I could definitely see this guys being used in advertisement. Like it's a really clean high poly, and the textures look really nice as well. So my advice for the shoes, my friend, would be to do some renders that are more like product renders, right? So if you look for shoe product render, this is the kind of stuff that you want to do. Because there are a lot of advertisement companies that want artists that can do this sort of stuff, but you need to present your shoes in a more like product design sort of way. Like look at this, right? A very simple environment, a lot of depth of field, some very nice harsh lights coming from the right or left. That's the shadow right there. If you can use or do the shoes that you have right there and generate a render like this one's, that's going to give you a very powerful piece as well. Something like this could also be a good idea. So just look for what Nike, Adidas, and all of this like big shoe manufacturers are doing, and try to emulate a little bit of that. Let's now go with Adish TS. Nice. I think I've seen your stuff before as well. I remember some pieces. Yeah, I remember some pieces. So I think the new ones are this ones right here. This one's really good, man. I love the design of this one. It looks stylized but realistic at the same time. I think this is a really good piece. My advice is do retopology and properly texture this in Substance, man, because again, this is really good. I really like this piece. I would love to texture this piece. So I would definitely recommend finishing this one, because as a practice it looks good, but if you could do a final piece, they will be even better. Creature bust sculpt. Now this sculpt, for some reason, I think you, because I can see that you did go through this whole like a normal map baking process. The concept of the creature is interesting, but again, I'm not seeing too much variation on the glossiness of things. Usually you're gonna see the lips being a little bit more glossy, other parts be a little bit less glossy. This kind of projects also, another thing that I would strongly recommend is you definitely need to increase the maps. So this is where UDIMs are really good. If you could do UDIMs for this guy so you can get even more detail, that would be, I think, something that would make this character pop a lot more. But again, it's a good practice. I know that you're mentioning here that you did this as a learning process. I'm not sure how long it took you, but it's a good character. It's just that it could be, again, it could be way better. So there we go. We got a question here. Kapil, yes, I'll check it. I'll give you a review as soon as we get there. 3D Atmosphere says, when we have to use subdivision, most of the time I think that it's good to use only bevel and remaining to ZBrush, so I'm confused to use subdivision. Subdivision is used usually when you want to keep the object low poly for like animation and blocking things on your scene, but you want to have a really smooth, clean result on the render times. You don't use subdivision in games, for instance. It's not something that we normally use because games cannot deal with that much amount of processing right now. Maybe later we'll have it. But subdivision is one of those things that has been used for a long time in the industry, so it is very important to learn it because it's part of the process, again, especially if you're going to be doing things for like commercials, films, or entertainment. If you're going to be doing games, it's not as important. Yeah, another practice right here. It's a good practice, man, but here's what I'm going to be advising you, Adish. It's time, I think you have a good enough level that it's time to stop practicing and it's time to start creating like a really polished creatures. Like I can see that some of these guys probably took you 1, 2, 3, 4 days at most. You need to do a project, like a ZBrush project with textures and everything in Substance that's going to take you 3 weeks, a full month, especially if you're working on your portfolio, because you want to have this sort of result. This one's a little bit better, but with your characters, okay? So you want to have full projects that you can show people, or here's another trick that I can show you. This is a work that I did a long time ago. This one right here. So another thing that you can try to do is try to incorporate or try to do something. This was again just a practice that I did. It's this alien. I actually 3D printed. I have it right here. So I did this alien, but the main goal of this project was not only to do, you know, sculpting, texturing, UVs, and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to make it seem like he was on a movie shot. So this was supposed to be like a Jedi that finds a lightsaber in an abandoned cave or something. And I created this composition to work on my rendering, learn about that sort of stuff. And this is the result that I was able to get. So as you can see, even though it's just a head, right? It's just a simple head. It looks a little bit more well presented, if I can say so myself, than just a traditional like texture effect right here. So it looks like, and this is something that I was taught when I was a student, is you want to make sure that you convey to your audience that you know where your object is going to end up at. So what do I mean by this? If I'm going to be doing characters, I need to make sure that I can show that I understand that my character is going to be on the frame of a film. And if I can show it in that sort of like scenario like this, making it look like he's on the frame of a film, then that's going to make it look way better, right? Like way more presentable. Like that head, that alien head right there is way more... It looks like it's more integrated into a final product than like this Cyclops skull right here. That's just a model, right? Like this is just a very simple, again, like a practice, and you can see it here. It's just a fun exercise to practice sculpting, vector displacement maps and stuff like that. There you go. It's just an exercise. It's not meant to be on a film. But if I were to give this thing the same sort of treatment, and I don't know, like get it into a scene like this one, and get the skull like there on the back or something like that, that's where you could see the whole process being a little bit more cohesive. Hopefully I'm making a little bit of sense right there. Let's now go with Avish. Oh, okay, Avish Sharma. I've already like did you mention something here in the comments? No, but I've already looked at Avish's stuff this weekend. We went over this on the what's the word? Yeah, we talked about this weekend. I mentioned that he has some strong pieces, but you need to finish like more, again, like or show people how the things that you're doing are going to be implemented into a sort of full production pipeline. 3D, no, Rajat Day says, I think so far what most people lack right now are presentation skills. Yes, unfortunately, presentation is something that it's not taught in schools as much. Again, I do have a very nice course in case you guys want to want to take a look at it. I think it's on discount right now. Here next to this called cinematic. There we go. Maya Lightning Masterclass. Become pro at rendering. It's 8 hours or 9 hours. 9 hours of lectures, and we go through several exercises where I teach you how to present your stuff a lot better. Like this shot that you see right there. That's old Maya, like all Maya. So you can do some really powerful things, and you don't need as much information. Like it's just a couple little tricks and things that you can use. So if you guys want to check that out, that's gonna really improve your presentation skills. Let's go with Jaroslav. Let's see. It says, I'm interested in your opinion about my new job and in general about the portfolio. Okay, so for this one, this looks really good. I love this one. I love this one. This is a really clean 3D piece. Great modeling. I can see that this is a low poly. Look at the silhouette right there, but it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Now, do we have a wireframe? Yes, we do. Okay. Nice. Yeah, this is a very clean wireframe. Very clean. I'm trying to look to see if there's any places where we're having way more triangles than we should, but no, everything seems like exactly as exactly as many triangles as you will need for this sort of stuff. So 5K triangles is perfect for this sort of thing. Look at this. This is what I call a reference board, my friends. If your reference board is not like Yaroslav's, you are doing something wrong, because look at the amount of reference that this guy has right here. And the reference is one of those things, I've mentioned this before. Reference is super important for the whole process, right? Like you cannot think, it's very arrogant, I would say, to think that you as an artist know more about how things look than the actual things, right? So make sure to always go for a lot of reference, as much reference as you can. I normally spend 2, 3, 4 hours just gathering reference and all the different things so that I can have a really nice idea of what I want. Cuckoo T-Das says, is there any job that requires only the high poly sculpt? I mean, without doing the retopology and UV high poly sculpt directly from series? Yes, Cuckoo. There is one. However, I am gonna tell you right now that it's very competitive. Why? Because not a lot of people want to do the full process. But right now, thanks to 3D printing, there is a lot of like demand for sculptures or people who can do sculpting in like a lot of different ways, so that people can 3D print them. And usually for 3D print, the only thing that you need to create is the high poly. But again, it's very competitive. Like there are very high profile jobs for this kind of stuff. It's more about like indie artists and things like that. So if you want to get in the industry, no, you're definitely gonna need to know the whole process. Okay, so that one's good, man. That gun is really good. Let's see, old rasp file. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those assets that I consider to be simple. It's not a tricky model. It's a good texture. My advice for this one, Jaroslav, is if you have a couple more, like this hand crank bench, combine the hand crank thing with the other one. And that way they do like a couple more and create like a little woodworker's table or something with a lot of tools. And I think that's going to give you a slightly better result. This is good. This is also a really good element. Don't forget to add your wireframes. I can see it in this one right here, but I don't think I saw it on the other one. And then Robot Rover. Again, simple model, very blocky. I can see some like bevels or, well, some like booleans and stuff like that. It's not bad. Definitely more stylized than your other stuff. My advice, my friend, if you're following this sort of like hard surface thing, do another hard surface thing like this gun, but do like a robot or something with that level of quality, and you're gonna have a really great really great piece for your stuff. Belarus, you're from Belarus. I don't think I've had scratched that one, so I'm gonna be scratching that one from my map as well. Cool, let's go. Next one, we got Aiman Nabaga. Aiman Nabaga from Morocco. I don't think I have that one either, so we're gonna be adding that one. Okay. So let's see, character artist. I can definitely see that this is a character artist, and we got some stuff. Some of it needs more work, like this Crash Bandicoot one. It definitely needs more work, but that was 2 years ago. So I'm gonna start from the newest stuff. Unfinished projects. Again, not necessary to add unfinished projects to your portfolio unless they're really, really good. Like this one right here. Do we really need to see this one? I don't think so. Do we really need to see this spike? Like, again, I don't think it's a good idea to add unfinished work to your portfolio because it will hurt you more than it will help you. Stylized Dark Elf Marksman. Okay, not bad. I can see you're going for this sort of like cell shaded effect. That's interesting. What are you using? Blender. Okay. Yeah, I feel like the colors are a little bit dark compared to everything else. I will probably go for lighter colors. Proportions and everything seem to be okay. Poly count is fine. It's expected for something like this. There are some anatomy and proportion issues that I would recommend checking out as well. I might, this is too many maps, by the way. Like for a character like this, especially if it's for like League of Legends or something like that, you don't need 5 maps. Like 5 maps is way too much. I would say probably like 3 maps. 1 for the face, 1 for the lower armor, 1 for the upper armor and body, right? So, because yeah, this is way too much map information. Is this the concept or is... I'm not sure. Yeah, so I recently finished the Sci-Fi Girl as well. You might want to check that one out for female anatomy. This face is nice. It's not bad. The neck's a little bit long. You can see it right here. It's a little bit of a long neck, but it's a really good detail on the texture. See, this is way better. So not bad, not bad. And there's another stylized game character over here. You might want to check also the stylized character creation that Daniel da Costa did a couple of months ago. That one's really good as well, and you can get some interesting pointers because even though I do like your for instance, this render looks really nice. I like the light that you're using there. I feel like the silhouette of your character is still a little bit wobbly. Like look at the jacket right there. It looks very, I don't know, kind of dirty. And also like the topology here, that's no bueno, not good. Because that's way too heavy. Again, too many maps, I think. I don't think you should have or be using as many maps. And the proportions, once again, they look a little bit off in certain areas. This one's cool. I like this head. Like, you could, again, do or like, finish it. Because this is, again, just a study, right? Like, the beard is not even finished. It's just like a quick clay thing right there. So I would definitely finish this one before posting here on your portfolio. You got good stuff, man, but we need to polish more things. We definitely need to polish more things, and remove some of the things that are not that good. Like this 3D Mewtwo, I would definitely take it out as well. It's not as good as some of your other stuff. That would be my advice. Let's go with, oh my god, we got a lot of messages right now. Wow. I'm gonna have to close the submission soon because otherwise we're never gonna finish. Or I'm just gonna start going a little bit faster. Let's go with Marcus Itonio. I've seen your stuff before, haven't I, Marcus? I think I've seen your stuff before, but this is really good. So he's an environment look-up artist, meaning he's gonna be focusing on the creation of environments and light and rendering. This is really good. I love this one. Nice finish here with what's the word, with the moss on top of the helmet. This is very nice as well. Yeah, this is one of the things that I encourage people to try. Try to do a full environment, even if it requires a lot of pieces. This is a great way to present it, and the result looks very tasty. I like the spider there. Very interesting concept. This one is very good. Medieval farm. Now, these things are, of course, for cinematics. Like, this is not something that you would have in a game right now. Maybe later. But this is really fun. Yeah. Be careful with the ivy, though. I feel like the ivy sometimes... Because it's a plugin that you can get in Blender. And I feel like it sometimes takes away from all of the other things. So I normally like to keep it light. But I like the sort of, like, crazy thing that you went for. There you go. That's it. Following the concept perfectly. Nice. Yeah, nice. And then this Vespa. This is really nice. Yeah, nice shading. Again, stylized. It's not like super realistic. It's a little bit more like stylized. But yeah, good stuff, man. I think for you, my advice would be, because you've already done some like interior scenes, do another exterior scene, but try to do a modern exterior scene, like an alleyway or something. I've always wanted to try like a Japanese alleyway, because they're I find them very cool. there's a lot of like props and lights and things like that. So something like this as an environment test, it's I would say it's a really good idea. Even something simple like this and make it very moody, something like that could work as well. There's so many options that you could do. It doesn't have to be Japanese, right? But this is the first ones I think about. So yeah, like an exterior on like a CD or like a factory or something like that. I think something like that could be a good option. Cuckoo says, can you suggest me some good websites to sell 3D models and get freelance work? You got TurboSquid, you got like My Mini Factory for 3D printing. They use that one a lot. You got Free 3D or something like that. But TurboSquid is usually the one that people use the most. So that was Marcus. Let's go now with Batuhan, 3D character artist. Let's take a look. Okay, so here, my friend, I can see that you are still on the learning process of the character work. My first advice is drop a lot of these things. Like, there are a lot of like exercise things that you're doing here that are not portfolio ready just yet. And again, instead of helping you, they will be hurting you, okay? So I can see Kai said that there's a lot of fan art as well, which is fine. But again, we gotta be careful on what things to upload. I'm not sure how long you've been doing characters, but we can get a rough estimate. So there we go. 4 months ago was this Lobo one. And then Yasuo here was 3 days ago. So I think you're trying to do or to cover too much in too short of a time. My best advice for you is grab one of our courses, like the Sci-Fi Girl, the Demon character, and just follow it one at a time. Like, just focus on one character for the next 2 months, okay? Don't try to do 8 characters in 1 month. Try to do 1 character in 2 months so that you can really work on your anatomy, on your proportions, on hair and fiber mesh and stuff like that. Because, for instance, this one right here, this is not good. This is just your first try at, and you said here, I tried to learn fiber mesh option. This is not something that you want to have on your portfolio. You can share this on Facebook, you can share this on Instagram or Twitter or any of your social media, but you don't want to have this on your portfolio when it's not ready yet, okay? I'm not saying it won't be ready, because you are getting close. Like this Kong right here, it does look a little bit like the actor, which is good. You might want to check the like Anthony Hopkins like sculpting likeness course as well, because that one's not mine, that one's from Victor Yamakado. It's a great course where he covers specifically how to capture the likeness of a character. So keep practicing, man. There's still a long way to go. Don't be impatient, because you're just starting the journey and it usually takes a while. So there you go. Fodi says, hello, my name is Andre. I'm a 3D character artist. I will be glad to hear your opinion about my portfolio. Let's take a look. Here we go. This looks interesting. Okay. So, again, right out of the bat, I would probably take this one out, the Butcher. It doesn't look as good as some of the other ones. This one looks nice. Female characters are always a good way to sell your portfolio. And the proportions on this one looks really good. Texture-wise, I don't love it. I think we could improve the hand-painted look a little bit more. I know you're using this like Mixamo or some sort of auto-rigged system, probably, because these are very like common poses, which is fine. I'm not sure if you did model the inside of the mouth, but that would be another thing that's important to consider, because otherwise you're gonna get a weird thing. You can see that there's that we have some weird deformation right there, and that's a problem with auto-riggers. They're not bad, but they can get some things wrong. Careful with the UV, it's a little bit messy. Usually you want to have the head like straight and try to accommodate some things so that they look a little bit better. The concept is really good. I think you did get close to the concept, but see how much more texture there is on the colors and on the armor, and yours look a little bit too flat overall. Like I feel like we went from this very intense texture, raggedy look for this druid into a more soft, like clean approach right here. Also, the eyes, I feel her eyes on the concept are a little bit more aggressive, and yours are a little bit more like still. So I would probably like sharpen them up, kind of like in this almond shape a little bit more. This one's fun. The biking looks good. A lot of props. Yeah, stylized, but looks good. Again, it's a good thing that you're doing this auto rig thing. It's not necessary, because as I mentioned before, like you will get some weird deformations every now and then. But it's not a bad idea to show that the rig can actually move. Again, I see the concept, and I do think you missed the mark a little bit. The concept is not as cartoon and as stylized. Yours is a little bit more friendly. This one looks a little bit more badass and a little bit more angry. Be very careful about the proportions. Look at the size of the shoulder pad. Look at the size of the shoulder pad compared to the size that you did right here. There's a lot of details that you missed on the shoulder pad, and this is what I mentioned before with one of the first submitters. When you have a concept by the side of your character, people are gonna find way too many things that you missed. So it's very, very important that you try to match as many of them as possible. Like for instance, I can see that over here there's 4 coins on this thing, and you only have 1 right there. I can see there's 1 coin right there. We're missing 2 more coins right here. I can see that the length of this things, like it has 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 1, 2. Okay, you did match that one. So you gotta be very careful, because this is what art directors are gonna be looking at to see if you can actually follow the concept as close as possible. There's of course gonna be variations and things like that, but you wanna be able to capture this as nicely as possible. I think if I had to give you a grade, it would be probably like a 7.8 based on the precision of this one compared to this one. It's not bad, but if you compare it to the concept, we're missing a lot of like muscular mass and things like that, so be careful there. There you go. My second character's called UV was like that before you publish. Yeah, you gotta be careful about how you process your UVs, because otherwise you can get some errors. This one's good. I like this one. I'm not sure why you didn't do the full body though. The full body could look way better, but the anatomy is way better than the druid girl. The armor looks a little bit more precise and cleaner. Again, careful with the UV. We gotta be a little bit more organized with the UVs. And one thing is, you can actually go for 4K textures. Like, you don't need to go all the way down to 2K. I know usually for games we do 2K, but for presentation purposes for your portfolio, 4K is perfectly fine, and that way you get a little bit more out of it. One more thing is, I would like to see a little bit more variation on the roughness channel of your character, because right now you can see the skin, it's very smooth, looks kind of like plasticky, and usually skin has a lot of variation with pores and things like that. So be careful there, because everything looks to have a very similar sort of a very similar amount of roughness, and we want to play a little bit more. Roughness is one of, if not the most powerful like layer that you can use on your texturing approach. This looks really good. I like this one. This looks like a Smite character. Nice. I can see you're having a little bit of issue with the fingers. They look a little bit too long and sausagey. Again, not the end of the world, but be careful there. I love the armor. Nice topology. There you go. Now you're learning. And this is what I'd like to see, when you see that people are actually learning. I know that you did this without me telling you, but this UV right here looks way cleaner, way more organized. So that's good, man. This is a good character. I think this is a really strong piece. I really like it. And finally, this axe. I've seen this axe a lot. That's just one of the... It's a very common concept that you get. If you look for like stylized axe, this one comes out very fast. It's good. It's good. It's a good concept. My advice, do more like this guy. Like, do more characters like this. Do a female character, do a monster character, do a young male character, do a young female character with this sort of style, and you're gonna have a super cool stylized portfolio, my friend. Let's go with Adish. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna have to stop you guys, because otherwise, again, I'm not gonna finish, and I still got stuff to do over here at the studio. Otherwise, when am I gonna be recording the portfolio? Let's say, hey guys, we will stop the submissions here. You can still submit, but we will take a look at them later. There we go. So that's the stopping point. Okay, so I'm gonna be a little bit faster, because again, otherwise I'm not gonna be able to finish. Adish, I think I've already seen yours. Yeah, okay, we've went over Adish's work already. Let's go with David from Colombia. David, let's take a look. He says, I want to share my portfolio with you. Thank you for your time. You are welcome. Oh, this is great, man. Anatomy studies are great. But again, anatomy studies are usually not the thing that you want to have in your portfolio. It's not bad. This is a really good leg, really clean. Like, I can see you're understanding the forms and the muscles. I would definitely give them a little bit more definition on the muscles, especially when doing studies. It's good to exaggerate things so that you understand where they are. And then on the characters, you're going to, like, simplify them. Hand studies, really good. Yeah, not bad. Arm study. Yeah, this is good. My advice would probably be to combine all of the studies into a single file. Like, you don't really need to have one for each one of these guys. And again, studies are usually not something that you want to include on your portfolio, because right now they're taking like more than half of your pieces, and they're not the important things. This is the important thing. This character right here. Let's take a look. Nice character. Nice anatomy. Did you use the base mesh? Did you sculpt this from scratch? That's a question that needs to be answered. The face is good. You definitely like captured this sort of like Asian face. Cloth, it's a little bit lumpy here. I'm not sure if you used traditional sculpting or if you use a software such as Marvelous Designer or things like that. I'm a little bit concerned about the seam right here that's very close to the back, so it might not fold perfectly if you're simulating the cloth. It's a little bit high on the trees. I understand that for the hair, that might be like valid. Okay, you're using scan data for this, it feels like. Nice. Yeah, this is good. Nice. This is a really, really nice like skin shader. Gives you a lot of control. There you go. You were using Marvelous Designer. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this right here, this is a really nice like full production project. The next step with this one would be to see if you can actually rig this. Can you rig this even with auto rigger and make it move? Because that's where your modeling is put to the test. Careful with this red thing right here. I'm not sure what type of light you're using, or if you were using Unreal Engine 4, because the light looks a little bit fake in certain areas. It's a good model, it's a really good model, but the light does look a little bit fake. It doesn't look as realistic. And if you're using Unreal Engine 5, you can use Lumen, which is going to give you a really nice like realistic effect. I think that the pore detail might be a little bit too much, so if you can reduce it either on the shader or on the textures, because it's a little bit too, it looks like an orange skin. I'll probably just like bring it down a little bit more. This one's really cool. Where is it? I would love to see this one on your portfolio as well. I mean, it's not as finished as this one, of course, but it's a good project, so I would probably add this one to your portfolio as well, David. That would be my advice as well. Kapil, yes, I will. I believe I did see yours. Or is yours down here? If it's down here, I'll take a look in just a second. Don't worry. Ashrae, Andre, Kapil, yeah, yours is down here. I'll take a look when I get there. We're getting there. And iMac 3D, yes, you can submit, man, but I'm not gonna be able to take a look at it today because we already got like 10 more portfolios right now that I need to check. Let's go now with Kaushal Jadav. Let's see. 3D artist from India. Okay, so I see, again, some good assets and some assets that need a little bit more work. We gotta be careful with this type of assets right here, my friends. The problem with these assets is that these are just very blocky assets. Anyone who knows how to use the Quadro tool and extrude can do this asset. So unless you're gonna be texturing this, doing bakes, sculpting or something like that, this is not something that you wanna have on your 3D software. This one, on the other hand, this one looks really good. This one looks a little bit better. Be careful with the sharpness of your elements right here. Make sure to use trim dynamic and things like that to really make this thing look a lot sharper, because right now it looks very like not sharp. It looks like a thick metal, and it's not as menacing as you might expect. Yeah, that's a nice concept. I think you did miss a little bit of the skull information right here. Like, I don't read this as a skull, and I'm not sure if you're sculpting this. I would like to see a sculpting picture, so that you can see if you're trying to sculpt this from a single piece or from multiple pieces. This 3D ruined hull, this is something that again very commonly happens, and I'm not sure why this happens, but the rendering, man, the rendering is where you're missing a lot of things, because right now the light is not helping you at all. I mean, certain models also need a lot more work and a little bit more love on the texture side of things, but if you light this in a nicer, more dramatic way, more cinematic, you could get a very, very interesting result. This alien, I would probably take it out again. It's not great. It's a fun little character, but the anatomy and the details, it's something that it's not really as powerful as other pieces. This sci-fi tank is a little bit better. Again, texture-wise, I would definitely play a little bit more with like the paint layer, some scratches, some more dirt. Something like this. Some of these shots look a little bit better. Careful with the amount of like resolution that you have right here. It's also a little bit too much. We got a question here. Oh yes, iMac submissions are closed on the Google Drive right now. So we're taking a look at the ones from Discord. We're taking a look at Discord. So yeah, that will be that one. Yeah, I think we need to work on more complex assets, Kaushal. Because most of the assets that you're presenting here are very, very simple. Like, this asset doesn't even make sense. And I'm going to tell you why it doesn't make sense. If we have a wood beam going across the door, how are you going to open the door? Right? Like, it looks really weird, the fact that we have this thing going, like, across the whole thing. So be very, very careful about the kind of assets that you pick. Like, picking the asset or the work that you're going to be doing is, I would say, one of the most important parts of the process. Simone Minini from Italy. There we go. Let's take a look. You got a Mercedes. This is really cool. I like this one. It's a fun, simple car, but it's really good. Cars, I always tell this, cars are like the final exam of a modeler. If you want to call yourself a modeler and you've never modeled a car, you need to do one, because it really tests your subdivision skills, your modeling skills, your UV skills. And this one right here, this looks really, really nice. Yeah, this is a nice model, man. Great model. If you could give it some more realistic textures inside of a Substance Painter, I think you could get an even better render, because I think most of the materials that you're using right now are the materials from Maya, probably, and Arnold. So adding a little bit more like scratches and a little bit of dust here and there could make this a little bit better. And then this Clone Trooper, oof, I love Clone Troopers. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Nice subdivision, clean topology. This is great. Oof, nice. Yeah. Yeah, this is really good. I think the only thing I could recommend for this one, my friend, would be to take a look at the rendering masterclass that I taught to give a little bit more dynamism to this. And I think he does look a little bit small compared to the size of the hallway. I'll probably make him a little bit bigger, because right now it's not that he's not in proportion to the place. Maybe he is in the proper proportion, but the camera is so far away that he looks tiny. So if he's the main focus of the scene, we really need to bring the camera in so that we're paying more attention to the character. I believe I've done one before, Sahil. I think you can look it on the channel. I talk about surface scattering and things like that, so you might want to check that one out. And if you want to check a more like in-depth process, I got the texturing masterclass that's right around there. So again, if you go to the comments, there is it's called the thyroid. No, what's it called? I will forget which one it is, but it's this one. There we go. Advanced texture character creation. And in this one, we go over so many things regarding texturing. Like, so many things. Look at that. We got Ubix texturing. There we go. So it's 4 hours of pure texturing. The skin, the axe, the horns, the teeth. So it's everything. And, of course, retopology in UBs. So that one's really good. So, yeah, that will be my advice, Simone. Just make sure that you, like, frame this a little bit better. Let's go with Lishu, Sahil, Rush, Pood. Okay, we got a video right here. Let me get this here. Key light, field light, rim light, indirect, specular. I'm not seeing a lot of change, man. I'm not seeing a lot of change. So we gotta be careful in how we are presenting things. I understand what you're doing. If you're doing this compositing instead of Nuke or something like that, then that's good. But I still feel like we're a little bit away from the sort of like cinematic look that we should be working for in this particular scene. This scene looks a little bit better, but still, like, look for reference, look for some movies, and look for some elements that you can use to get this integration there. It's good, but again, it could be a little bit better. So now we're gonna go to... Do you have a art station? I don't think you have an art station. So yeah, for cinematic lighting, this is the thing about cinematic lighting, and that's the kind of information that you don't see a lot. So if you look for cinematography, that's the kind of stuff that you want to emulate. So don't just try to go with what you think is gonna work. Go for things that has been done in movies and try to copy or capture that sort of feel inside of your scene. So I don't know, like this scene right here, like do that same chair scene, but try to capture this atmosphere right here would be my suggestion. That's gonna give you a way better result than just trying to do a light or day scene, night scene and stuff like that. We need to study what we have here and try to see how we can incorporate that into our shots. Like, see how much stuff we're not seeing in this thing? Like almost everything is like covered by the fog. The silhouette of the character is just that, it's just a silhouette. So a very common mistake that we make as a CG artist is that since we spend so much time trying to model, render, and rig all the stuff that we do, when it comes to rendering and lighting, we want to make sure that everything is at least a little bit lit so that everyone can see it. But sometimes we need to hide things with lights and shadows so that we give more weight to the scene. We need to think about the scene and not about the prop. Okay, so someone might be like, I spent so much time modeling this boiler right here, I want to make sure that there's a rim light hitting the boiler so that people can see the boiler that I modeled. No, it's just a silhouette of a boiler and that's all you need. And yeah, sorry, you might have spent a lot of time, but it's not about your boiler, it's about the scene, right? It's about the whole thing that we want to capture. That's the thing that you want to go for, okay? Let's go now with Julian Montoya. Julian Montoya. Hi Abraham, what you doing? Fine. I'm Julian, a 3D artist from Costa Rica, currently working on my 3D skills. I would like to hear your opinion on my portfolio. Let's take a look. Nice. Okay, so I see a lot of stuff, which is good. I like this. This one's really impressive. It's really impressive because of the level of complexity that the character has. So that's good. Did you guys rig this thing? Or is it just a render? If you rig this thing, that's impressive, because rigging that kind of stuff, it's always it's always complex. Okay, it does seem to be rigged, so cool. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's definitely a good project. Yeah, this sort of stuff it's really nice. Cool. Okay, so but that's a relatively old project. Let's see how you've been doing in recent stuff. So, School Troll 3 years ago. No, that's still too old. Let's go for the new thing. So this is Begna, your newest one. This was done last month. There you go. Yeah, so this is good. The amount of detail that you were able to capture here is really good. I understand what you're going for there with the tentacles, but you need to do more of that, because right now it's very obvious that those tentacles around the neck are the only ones that are like separate subtools, and everything else is just a single mesh. So you definitely want to create a little bit more complexity. This presentation, like the turntable presentation with the white light and the spheres, that's perfectly fine. I would actually think this shot right here might be a better thing to open your thing. So I think this one right here is a little bit of a weak render compared to this one right here. I prefer this one way better. I would probably just change that. I know this is a subdivision effect. If you could show a low poly version, that would be good as well, so that we can appreciate. And there we go. This is another thing. You can see the roughness there. It's very uniform again. I'm not seeing too much variation of the roughness. You probably wanna play a little bit more with that. This one right here, Motorcyclist Warrior. Nice. Body proportions are good. Props are good. Face, I think... Well, I'm not a huge fan of the stylized... Well, I like stylized stuff, but I don't do much stylized. That's what I meant. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, man. Yeah, this is good. Good project. I would probably try to do a more cinematic render as well for that one, but that one looks really good. You play League of Legends? I used to play League of Legends back in the day, but I don't do that anymore. Burhanuddin says, what's the update for this week we have? What do you mean, man? I'm not sure what do you mean. Yeah, this one's good, man. I can definitely see this like stylized effect. My advice for you, my friend, Julian, is... maybe do a male character. You're missing a male, like a traditional male character, like a fantasy, you know, like a Viking, a warrior, or something like that. Because you do have some really nice sculpting skills. I can see that. This is really good. So just finishing a male character, I think, would be a good option for you. But yeah, this is good, man. And creatures, you definitely need to improve a little bit on creatures. Like this dragon right here, it's not looking as an impressive dragon, or as much as an impressive dragon. Oh, you went for this muscle system? That's impressive. The muscle system is impressive. But the actual like skin surface looks a little bit more like an iguana, so I would probably try to change that. The muscle system is really good though. That's very cool. Nice. Let's go. Next one. Roma, we've seen your stuff, man. Let's see. I haven't been in this category for quite a long time because I wasn't sure there was anything to show. Working projects of quite the same level. The contract will end soon, and in the process of new jobs, I decided to redo my resume portfolio. Would like to hear from me. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so I think you have a really good Roma. By the way, he was one of the. I think he won the. You won the gun design thing, right? We had a gun design contest. There you go. This one right here. So Roma won with this one, and it was really, really cool. I mean, this is just impressive. So I would take out some of them, my friend. Like I would take this mystery panther. We talked about this privately. Like the result is it's okay, but it's not as good. This forgotten temple. Yeah, I think you can keep this one. It's fun. It's interesting. This helmet right here, I don't think this is strong. This gun right here, or blade right here, I don't think this is strong. This gun right here as well. Like you have two very cool guns, so you don't need a third one right there. I remember this vintage car. This one's really cool. I like it. Yeah, so I think for you, my friend, it's just about taking out some of these things, like some of the ones that are not as good, and adding more pieces. You do have a really good portfolio. Like I think you're in a level where you could definitely get some job offers. This is good. I'll probably add a little bit more like vignette or something to push the background and the foreground into different planes for this particular one. Personally, I like my portfolio to be a little bit more presentable. So I understand this sort of like graffiti style for your stuff and this profile pic. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything, but usually if you present yourself as a more like professional artist, it could give you a couple of extra points. Some people might not respond as well to this kind of stuff. I don't mind, but I know there are people out there that are a little bit more reserved in this sort of like art styles. So you could add just like your gun, like place the sci-fi rifle as your cover and change your profile pic to your own picture, and I think that makes you look a little bit more professional as well. It's all about presentation. Rajat is asking which one is best, Maya or Max. They're both really good, like Maya, Max, Blender. It doesn't really matter. I would say Max and Blender are actually a little bit better in modeling than Maya, to be honest. But Maya is the industry standard, and it's been used for so long that a lot of people just deal with it. Let's now go with our Kayan Sarti. We got some character work. Okay, first thing I see here, Kayan, it's a lot of fan art. Okay, so all of the things I'm seeing here are fan art characters, and it's great, but you also need to do characters that are not from the like a pop culture domain. Why? Because you might be in projects that require you to do things that are not from the pop culture things. So in regards to like modeling, this is good. Like modeling wise and rendering wise, I like it. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, the anatomy is really good for this one. For like a collectible, that's pretty cool. Yeah, 3D print. This is perfectly great for 3D print. Wolverine, I think you can make him a little bit angrier. There are a couple of things on the anatomy that I'm seeing that don't look as good. So we can definitely improve the anatomy on this Wolverine. I'll probably take the Wolverine out, to be honest, because it's not as strong as your other pieces. This clicker right here, same thing. Like I think this clicker is not that polished. I would probably take these two guys out. This one looks very cool. Peter B. Parker. Yeah, this is good. Nice. I like that one. And then finally this one. Her eyes look a little bit crazy, and the hair definitely needs a little bit more work. So I would probably work on that thing as well. The lips and the face in general, I think the proportions of the face are a little bit off. And especially on the material side of things, it looks very waxy, very like plasticky. So that's something that definitely needs to be like checked as well. You might want to check the sci-fi character course that I finished recently. That's just a high poly. I'm going to be doing the retopology and the textures in the next couple of months. So part 2 of that one's coming. But yeah, it's the same thing here. Like the topology is a little bit dense in several areas. So that's going to complicate it. If we wanted to rig this character, that would definitely complicate it a little bit more. Texture is not that bad. Like you're getting a good result there. But yeah, the proportions are not... they're a little bit weird in certain areas. In the channel, Borhanuddin is asking what things are we gonna be doing. We're probably gonna be continuing a little bit with the lighthouse, and then just you know, a couple of tricks about ZBrush, Maya, stuff like that. You can always suggest more stuff as well. I'm working on the next course, so I'm gonna be focusing on that as well. Aaron says, Ave, is it important to hand retopologize model or just a series mesh? It depends on the model. For characters, I usually prefer like hand retopologize because it gives you way more control. But for other things such as like props, like rocks and things like that, series mesh is more than enough. So Hisham El Maghravi from Egypt has got some really cool props right here, really clean props. Nice. I'm gonna go for some of this lo-fi bathroom. This is nice. Yeah, this is cool. The render is looking nice. I believe you're using Lumen or something like that to get this very nice like bounce lights and things. Yeah, this is very cool. The thing that I would like to see here. There you go, yeah. So you're saying that you created 65% of the assets, and some of the assets were used from Quixel Megascans and Polyhaven. That's fine. As long as you can use models from the internet, as long as you tell people that you are like reutilizing things like that. So I think that one was really strong, and then this one we missed something. Like the light in this one, it's not looking as great. It looks very fakeish. So I would definitely work on the light in this one a little bit more. Especially as an environment artist, Hisham, one of the things that you definitely need to take a look at is light. Light is very important. And you want to make sure that that light is consistent in all your projects. That's a nice tank. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple prop, but it's a nice prop. For props like that one, I would definitely combine them into other props. Now, you have here a scene that I'm not seeing inside. I would love to see that scene because that scene looks really good. Now, if you have multiple props, such as this baby tar, this ladder, try to, again, combine them into a single element, just calling them props, like game props, so that you don't clutter your portfolio with a lot of, like, simple things. Because even though the amount of detail that you're able to capture in these things is really good, like all of that bump map and the dust, like look at that little detail, that's really good attention to detail. It's still a simple model, right? It looks like a very simple box. I'm a little bit worried about the amount of polygons. Like this is not something that I might use in the game because it's very, there you go, that low poly, that one works. Wow, yeah, that's a great low poly, man. Great low poly. You probably want to keep it a little bit higher. Like you can definitely add some like what's offsets and things like that, some extrudes, so that it's not perfectly flat. But that's a really good low poly, man. Arcar says, Abraham, can you do a tutorial about modeling and rendering an eye in Marmoset? I've already done that, but that one's on the premium course, so I will feel like that's a little bit like betraying people who have bought the course. So if you buy the Marmoset 4 course, where is it? This one, Complete Guide to Marmoset Toolbag. Usually Udemy has a lot of like right now there's a sale going, so you might be able to get it for cheap. In this one, there is a chapter where we go through the eyes. There we go. So eye textures, modeling the eye textures, eye setup. And it's a very nice process to get a more realistic looking eyes inside of Marmoset. Let's go with Keep. We got 4, 5, 6 more. Wow. There we go. Let's see. Let's go with Keep. Says, hey Abraham, I designed this and developed a sweet magical whimsical creature for February contest. Can you rate it? Yes. Why didn't you submit, man? Did you run out of time? Cool. Okay. So from a design perspective, it needs a little bit more work, something a little bit more interesting. I like the idea, like a poisonous, venomous pug, which is really cool. But from a design perspective right now, it just looks like he's got like blemishes or things like that on his skin. Like there's nothing telling me that there is like poison coming from the inside. So you can go either like the super nasty way and add more things, more creepy things, or you can go the magical way and add some sort of like runes or something. Because right now the design, it just looks like he's got sick skin, right? So we need to think about like for instance, if we look for poisonous animal concept, we should find something that looks interesting, or like a zombie. I think like a cute. We look for like cute zombie dog. I know you probably didn't want to go for like a zombie sort of style, but you can see how they like by making one of the arms like bone, by adding this sort of like muscles or the stitches, like a Frankenstein dog, for instance, something like that. Like if we could have changed or added a little bit more of that sort of like design things, I think that would have been a good idea. Topology wise, it's a little bit high, but I know we had a high like amount for that one, so that's fine. UV, we can definitely improve the UV. This is like a lot of small islands, and I'm not sure why we have all of those small islands. Might be because of all the little like inclusions, but here's the thing, like all of these things that you added, those don't need to be like modeled by themselves. Like you can have them be baked into the normal map, and that would save you a little bit more space. It's a good idea. If I had to rate it, I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. So hopefully that information works, my friend. It was a good idea. It's a good project. Cool. Let's go now with a confused artist. Abraham, first of all, thank you for all your videos and courses. I've learned a lot from you. You have a very good way of teaching. Currently working on my portfolio for a job. Would like to hear some tips. Ashrae Borkar from India. Let's take a look. Okay, so we got 3 pieces. The car, it's a good car. I do see some weird pinches, like here on the door. Here, like there are some topology issues that we might be able to solve if you spend a little bit more time. You definitely need to show some wireframe renders on this one, and I would strongly advise to do some cool textures for the actual paint of the car, because it looks very fake. It looks like a CG car, and the wheels, for instance, are looking quite nice. Like I can see there's a little bit more texture on the rubber. So if you could add some like textures to the car itself, I think this could be a stronger portfolio piece. This one right here looks good as well. It's a nice bedroom. It's a simple one. Usually these bedrooms are good to learn the software. I don't like using them for my portfolio because they're simple. They're not really telling a story. I would probably just do something like this where you like showcase the assets. But again, it's a good one. Especially if you're a student, it's understandable that you did some exercise like this one at one point in your career. And this hand right here needs a little bit more detail on the sculpture. Like for instance here, we're missing some very big like lines on the folds of the hand. So I would probably take this one out from your portfolio or work on it a little bit more. I understand the idea, but I don't think the execution is there just yet. So I would definitely push this a little bit more with the details. Again, especially on the folds of the hand. So the sculpting, the high poly needs to be a little bit stronger. Okay. I mean, the rigging is fine. I'm not sure if you're following my rigging tutorial. The rigging is fine. It's moving and it's giving you a nice result. But again, I think the high poly, yeah, there we go. The high poly definitely could do a little bit more, or could have a little bit more work. Look for reference. Remember, reference is super important for that one. Aryan. Okay, let me take a look at the movie. Is this a movie? Oh, it's a Marmoset viewer. Okay. Good thing I do have Marmoset viewer. Otherwise. Yeah, this is good, Aryan. I mean, some of the bakes are a little bit wonky. You can see how they are getting a sort of like weird effect right there. Like that thing right there, I don't think that's something that you should have. So we gotta be a little bit more careful there. And I'm not sure why you're getting that. I'm not sure if that's the high poly or the low poly. Some of the other bakes are fine. And the texture, again, I will probably add a little more work on this one, dude. You've done some really cool things, man. I'm not sure if you're trying to rush this one or if you're trying to be a little bit faster, but I do see some errors here that I know that you can figure out, because yeah, it's a good element, but I know you can do it a little bit better. So check the bakes. I think the bakes are the biggest issue with this one right here, and maybe the topology. Yeah, like this overlap right here, I'm not sure if that's what you want to have. I mean, it's fine. But yeah, that bake, it's really freaking me out. I'm not sure if you had another line right there and you deleted it, and when you deleted it, the UV shifted. But it's something that you definitely need to fix, my friend. Let's now go with Andre. It says, I'm trying to focus on characters and I would like the tips on how can I improve my presentation. Let's take a look. Okay, so... interesting. You have a really interesting style. You're from Brazil. Nice. So I think just you got some cool concepts. Like this one right here, it's a cool concept. The texturing is just a very simple texture. I know that's just a metal edgeware to give this sort of like gold effect. This one right here, I think I've seen this concept before. I'm not sure, or something similar. Again, play a little bit more with the glossiness, because I feel like you're keeping a very uniform glossiness everywhere. And this is not a bad character. There you go, that's the concept. So yeah, so you did nail the concept quite nicely. That's your concept. It kind of looks like it's your concept. But I think again the presentation, everything looks very metal, so that might not be exactly what you want. Let's take a look at some of the full characters. So less head sketches, more full characters would be my suggestion. And again, get rid of this metal thing that you're doing. I'm not sure why you... I mean, I can understand why you might like the stuff to make it look like a statue, which is fine. But you're not... I've never seen a game where everything's like metal, so you gotta be careful there. Because, again, this is a cool character concept, but it needs to be prepared for, like... I would like to see the retopology, the UVs, and all that sort of stuff to make sure that this is usable in a game, right? Yeah, you're doing the... the metal thing again. Yeah, show me some wireframes. Okay, that looks interesting. I mean, the fact that it can move, that means that you do have proper topology, so that's good. That high sculpt's a little bit better. Yeah, are you doing your own concepts? Because if you are, that's very cool. Okay. Aryan says that the little scope that we just saw was a test. In 3 days, I still think you can get it a little bit cleaner, man. But yeah, now you're seeing how it works in the industry. In the industry, they're not gonna wait forever for you to finish stuff. So you need to be a little bit faster. Yeah. So Andrew, in general, I think you need to do full characters and do a traditional full character. Like don't go for this sort of like metallic stylized thing, because I know it's a very cool style that you have, but it's very niche. So unless you're going to be working on a production that's going to be using that sort of style, it doesn't show that you can handle like a traditional PBR, like a metal workflow sort of thing. So I would do just like a male character, female character, just following traditional PBR texturing processes, which are the industry standard, and that's what I would do. Oh, cool. Yeah, if there's your concept, that's perfectly fine. However, that's another advice that I can give you. Try to follow someone else's concept, because when we follow our own concepts, we tend to cheat a little bit here and there once we go into the 3D sort of thing. So one of my advices would be try to follow someone else's concept as well. Okay, let's go with Kapil. Sorry for the wait, my friend. But there we go, Kapil. So this one, I've seen it from another tutorial. I think there's a tutorial out there that shows you how to do this one. But the result is really good. I think you were able to nail the result of the weapon very, very nicely. Let's take a look at some of the maps and stuff. So for this kind of stuff, one of the things that I like to see is the wireframe, which is really clean. Love this wireframe. Great wireframe. Let's look at the roughness. This is what I meant by the glossiness or the roughness. You want to see a little bit of variation. Dark colors, white colors, gray colors, a little bit of everything. This is great, man. Great result. That's the metalness. And then let's go to the albedo. Yeah, this is good, man. This is a good piece. You got more stuff? Got a grenade? Yeah, the grenade is good as well. So my advice for you, Kapil, because you do seem to have a good grasp of modeling and rendering, my advice is try to go for something a little bit more complex. Weapons are great, but they are relatively simple every now and then, right? So if you go for a character like a robotic character or a vehicle or a small environment, stuff like that is going to push your stuff even higher in the eyes of everyone. And also try to follow something that there's no tutorial for, because following a tutorial and following what other people are doing, it's relatively simple because you're safe. You can follow someone and that's it. But trying to do something on your own, that's where things get tricky. So that will be my advice for you. Last two, we got the Timothy, Art of Timothy. I feel like I've seen your stuff before. This is really good, Misfortune, man. Not bad. The anatomy in the face looks really good. The render looks really good as well. I feel like some of the cloth looks a little bit weird, but in general, this is a good project. You're going to the photoreal thing, so that's nice. I think the guns, or I'm not sure if you're using an HDRI, but the guns look a little bit too dark. Street Punk, this one looks really, really good as well. Yeah, I love the peach fuzz that you added to the face. That's really, really cool. Anatomy wise looks good. Hair looks good. It's X-Gen, right? Pretty sure that's X-Gen. I think one of the things that I would probably add on the piercings is just sculpt a little bit of the effect of the piercing going into the skin. You would see a little bit of a dimple right where the piercing is going in to give it a little bit of that extra realism. But yeah, this is really, really good, man. Jason, Dead Island 2. I haven't played Dead Island 2. This is good, man. Yeah, you're going for photoreal. This is the kind of stuff that you're gonna see in like cinematics and things like that. I think the arm's a little bit thick on this side, like the anatomy needs a little bit more work. Same for the shirt, it looks a little bit weird. That one's good. We should be modeling. I'm probably gonna model one of these guys for you because it looks very, very fancy when we use like this tripod for for our color things. Yeah, like I can definitely see this guy in a cinematic. Careful with the hands. See how they're getting like a little bit deformed right here. I'm not seeing the nails and also the knuckles. They are not like as strong as I would expect them. So that's the kind of detail that you want to spend a little bit more time on. But the face is really, really good. The skin as well. This is definitely using UDEMs. I'm not sure if you're here on the chat, my friend. But if you're on the chat, let me know how many UDEMs you use for this guy. Because this is something that you definitely need quite a bit of a resolution to get to this detail. Yeah, this is good, man. I think now that you have some of these strong ones right here, you can get rid of some of these ones down here, like this Navi right here. I don't think it's as powerful as some of the other ones. So I'll probably take it out. But yeah, and the full bodies, it's also something that I would recommend doing. Because I can see a lot of... this one looks cool. You're missing a nail there. Careful with that sort of things. Yeah, this is good. The hands on this one look way, way better. Did you do the full body or just the torso? Kind of looks like just the torso, but it looks very, very cool. Yeah, keep up the good work, man. I might, if I might suggest a course, I might suggest the Anthony Hopkins, like likeness course. This one has UDEMs. Nice. Yeah, yeah, this is cool, man. A little bit more anatomy work, I would say. Because some of the muscles are not like attaching themselves exactly like they should, and that gives some weird proportions. Also, careful. I think another area of opportunity for you, my friend, are the props. Some of this like leather things, they look very, very basic. So even though the texture is saving you there, by improving the props and making them look a little bit better, I think you could get an even like stronger result. And finally, last but not least, we're gonna go with Vernai. Varan Yilmaz, character artist from Turkey. Nice. I think I've seen yours before as well. Let's take a look. This one's very cool. I like this one. Ghost portrait. I think I like this render, the second render, a little bit better than the first one. I would probably play a little bit with the roughness of the skin as well, because it looks very dry. And I'm not seeing a lot of glossiness in certain areas. I would expect to see a little bit of glossiness here in the ears. Careful with the sculpting of the ears. Usually here we should see a little bit more of a dip on that part of the character, and maybe increase the intensity on some of the scars. I'm also not seeing subsurface scattering. You definitely want to use subsurface scattering for this kind of renders, so that we can see a little bit more life on the skin. I know it could be like a corpse or something, which is fine, but even a corpse would have some surface scattering. So skinny guy anatomy again, not necessary. Like this pose right here, I don't like it. I would prefer if you just take this one out and just keep this one to explain that you were doing a skinny anatomy study. That's fine. But again, studies usually are not a good thing to have on our portfolios. So I would probably skip that one. And this one looks really cool, man. I really like this one. Nice. Like very, very complex. Again, I would probably play a little bit more with the colors and the roughness of things, because you want to make sure that there's a good contrast of what things are rough and which things are not as rough. You're using this, you're doing this in Unreal, which is great. See, you can see like on this part right here, there's not a lot of like complexity on the roughness. I would definitely add a little bit more like high frequency detail on those parts to make this really, really, really push a little bit farther. So yeah, there we go, my friends. With this, we are finishing today's portfolio review. I know we got a couple more right here. Let's do them. Let's do two more. I mean, you guys are already here, so let's do it. Michael, I already took a look at yours, my friend. It's earlier today. We actually started with you, I believe, or you were one of the first ones. Yeah, there you go. So yours was already reviewed, my friend. If you want to go back on the live stream, it's gonna be there. And then we got Giancarlo Kunis. Giancarlo, we got 3 pieces right here. Delivery hover band. This looks good. I do think if this is a game asset, I do think the subdivision is a little bit high. Like this is not something that you would expect to see on the game because of the amount of polygons that we have, especially on this upper part. Be very careful about the topology down here, like this big black thing that you added. It's very low poly compared to everything else. So you want to check that one out, because usually or ideally when you have an asset, most of the topology should be very uniform between all the different parts. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. Austin definitely needs more work. It's very low poly here. We're no longer working with this amount of polygons on the industry. You can definitely go a little bit higher, at least like twice as high. And we need to check or work a little bit more on the texturing of the skin. See how it looks metallic on these arms? I'm not sure what happened there. You probably forgot to turn off some part of the metallic elements, or you're using some metallic here, and that's why you're getting metallic arms. But that's something that we need to increase. Again, we are not doing this sort of like low poly effects anymore. You can definitely do this way higher nowadays. And this windmill right here, again, it's a simple model. I would definitely encourage you to try something a little bit more complex, my friend, because the models that we're seeing right now is just basic cylinders, cubes, and stuff like that. And pretty much anyone that does 3D can do this sort of stuff. You want to show the world that you can do complex things. And complex things require complex concepts. So make sure to check that one as well. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As I was mentioning, we're gonna have a slow week this time around, so we're probably not gonna be able to upload too many things, but we'll have videos probably on Wednesday. I want to continue on the lighthouse, and if there is anything that you guys want me to cover, please go into the Discord channel, and we have either the feedback or the general channel. You can just drop your ideas out there or specific tips or tricks that you want to see, and yeah, we're gonna be taking a look at those. So thank you very much, everyone, for being in this portfolio review. Thank you for all of the people that submitted. If you want to submit for next month's portfolio review, you can do it on the Drive, on the Google Drive folder, which is going to be on all of the descriptions for our videos, or you can join our Discord channel, which again is in the description, and drop it on the portfolio review channel. So yeah, that's it, my friends. Let's start this week with more 3D, and thank you very much for being here. I'll see you